Welcome, sleepy soul. Tonight I am your storyteller, your guide through shadows and whispers. Here in the dark corners of imagination, every creak, every shadow, and every whisper has a story to tell. Welcome to Creepytalks, where the night never ends and the tales are waiting for you. Story 1, The Night the King Walked In. People think mascots are harmless. Smiling faces, costumes, marketing tricks. But sometimes, the costume smiles back. I never believed in mascot horror stories. To me, they were just internet clickbait, creepy thumbnails, exaggerated titles, and fake narrations meant to scare teenagers at 2 a.m. That belief ended the night I worked the closing shift at a Burger King off Route 41. A location so isolated, it barely showed up on GPS. This story is real. I wish it wasn't. The job nobody wanted. The Burger King sat between a dead cornfield and an abandoned gas station. No streetlights, no nearby houses, just a long stretch of highway and the constant hum of trucks passing like distant thunder. I was 19 at the time, broke, desperate. So when the manager asked if I could handle overnight inventory shifts, I said yes without hesitation. Extra pay, fewer customers, easy money, or so I thought. The store officially closed at midnight, but on Tuesdays we stayed open internally until 3 a.m. for freezer checks, cleaning, and inventory counts. No customers, just 2 employees. That night it was only me and Rick, the assistant manager. Rick was in his mid-40s, tired eyes, chain smoker voice. He had worked there for nearly 10 years and carried the exhaustion of someone who had seen too much but said too little. Before locking the doors, Rick said something strange. "If anyone knocks, don't answer." I laughed. "Even if it's the cops?" Rick didn't smile, especially if it's someone smiling. I thought he was messing with me. He wasn't. The costume in storage around 12:45 a.m. Rick asked me to help him check the back storage room, the place where old promotional items were kept. Broken signs, cardboard crowns, old uniforms, and the mascot costume. I had never seen it in person before. The Burger King mascot suit wasn't supposed to be there. Corporate had retired it years earlier, yet it sat upright in the corner like someone had placed it there carefully. The head was massive. Plastic skin stretched tight into that permanent grin. Unblinking eyes, a molded beard, a crown that looked more medieval than friendly. I swear, it looked used, scratched, stained. "Why do we still have that?" I asked. Rick avoided looking at it. "We're not supposed to." That should have been my warning to quit. First knock at exactly 1:17 a.m. The first knock echoed through the restaurant. 3 slow taps on the front glass door. Tap, tap, tap. Rick froze mid-step. I looked at the security monitor. The camera facing the front entrance flickered with static. "No one's there," I said. Rick whispered, "Don't open it." Another knock, this time louder. The lights flickered. Against my better judgment, I peeked through the small window beside the door. And then I saw him, the Burger King mascot, standing outside, full costume, perfectly still, the crown tilted slightly forward, hands clasped behind his back like a polite guest waiting to be invited in. No company van, no car, no explanation. Just him. I stumbled back. "Rick, tell me you see this." Rick didn't answer. He was already moving toward the breaker room, shaking. The smile that changed. The knocking stopped. I watched through the glass as the mascot's head slowly tilted upward, and the smile changed. The mouth didn't move. Plastic can't, but something about it felt wider, hungrier, like the grin wasn't meant to be friendly. Then the mascot raised one hand and waved. I screamed. Rick killed the front lights. The restaurant plunged into dim emergency glow. "Stay away from the windows," he hissed. We hid behind the counter, listening. Footsteps, heavy, slow. Not outside, inside. Impossible entry. The back door alarm screamed. Metal slammed against metal. The security monitors flickered again. And now the back hallway camera showed something impossible. The mascot walking down the hallway. No door damage. No forced entry. Just there. Rick collapsed to his knees. "It's not supposed to come back," he muttered. "What do you mean, come back?" Rick looked at me, eyes filled with something close to guilt. 5 years ago, a night manager disappeared. Same shift, same costume. The hallway camera cut to static. Then the lights went out completely. Breathing behind the mask. In the darkness, we heard it. Breathing. Deep. Wet. Too real to be someone in a suit. Footsteps moved slowly across the tile. Closer. Closer. I held my breath. Something brushed my shoulder. I smelled old grease. Mold. Rot. A whisper slid into my ear. "Have it your way." I ran. I didn't care where. I sprinted through the kitchen, slipping on grease, heart pounding like it wanted out of my chest. I burst through the emergency exit and didn't stop until I reached the highway. I never looked back. The aftermath. The police found Rick unconscious behind the counter. They never found the costume. Corporate claimed it had been disposed of years ago. The security footage? Corrupted. Every file from 1 a.m. to 3 a.m. was missing. Rick quit 2 days later. He never spoke to me again. Why I'm telling this now? Last week I drove past that same Burger King. It's closed now. Boarded up. But taped to the door was something new. A cardboard crown. And written beneath it in black marker, "I'm still hungry." Story 2, the drive-thru that never closed. Some places don't shut down when the lights go out. Some things keep serving, long after closing time. I tried to forget what happened at the Burger King on Route 41. I really did. I quit my job, moved cities, changed my routine. For years, the memory stayed buried, locked away like a bad dream that fades with daylight. Then my cousin Ethan called me, and everything came back. The new location. Ethan was 22, college dropout, night owl, the kind of guy who laughed at ghost stories and played horror games at full volume just to prove fear didn't touch him. He got hired at a 24-hour Burger King on the outskirts of a small town in Ohio. When he told me where he worked, my stomach dropped. Burger King, night shifts, drive-thru. I warned him. He laughed. "Dude, it's fast food, not a haunted asylum." I should have pushed harder. The first strange order, Ethan worked the graveyard drive-thru shift, midnight to 6 a.m. Barely any customers, mostly truckers and drunk college kids. On his third night at 2:34 a.m., the drive-thru headset crackled to life. Static first, then breathing. Heavy, slow. Ethan cleared his throat. Welcome to Burger King. May I take your order?" Silence. Then a voice, deep, distorted, like it came through water. "The usual." Ethan frowned. "We don't have a usual, sir. Could you repeat your order?" The speaker popped. "You already know." Before Ethan could respond, the screen lit up. Order received item, King's meal price. No such item existed. Ethan turned to his co-worker. "You mess with the system?" She shook her head. "Nope." They waited. No car pulled forward. After 30 seconds, the order disappeared. They shrugged it off. That was their first mistake. The camera glitch. An hour later, Ethan checked the drive-thru camera. The screen flickered, then froze. The image showed a car stopped at the speaker, but there was no car outside. The camera zoomed automatically. Closer, closer, until the screen filled with a face. The Burger King mascot, not a costume this time. The face looked wrong. The eyes weren't plastic. They blinked. Please pull forward. At 3:17 a.m., the headset turned on again. No static this time, just a cheerful, familiar tone. Please pull forward to the first window. Ethan's blood ran cold. The voice came from inside the system, not the speaker, not the headset. The drive-thru light turned green. Something unseen rolled forward. The window slid open on its own. Cold air rushed in. And then the smell. Old meat, grease, decay. Ethan gagged. A gloved hand appeared on the window ledge. Not a mascot glove. Human skin stretched tight and pale beneath a golden sleeve. A receipt printed by itself. Thank you for your sacrifice. The crown on the asphalt. Ethan slammed the window shut and screamed for his manager. They shut down the drive-thru early. Corporate blamed system errors. But when Ethan went outside at dawn, he found something sitting perfectly centered in the drive-thru lane. A cardboard crown, soaked in something dark, sticky, blood. The second night Ethan wanted to quit. They begged him to stay, short-staffed, bonus pay. He agreed to one more shift. That was all it needed. At 2 a.m., the power went out. Backup generators kicked in, but the drive-thru system stayed active. The screen flashed text. Open, always open. The headset screamed. Multiple voices overlapped. Whispers, laughter, chewing. Then one voice rose above the rest. Have it your way. The drive-thru camera activated again. This time it showed the inside of the restaurant. Behind Ethan, the mascot stood inches away, head tilted, smile stretched impossibly wide. Disappearance. The police report says Ethan walked out of the restaurant at 2:43 a.m. Alone, calm, smiling. Security footage shows him placing a cardboard crown on his own head before stepping into the darkness. They never found him. No body, no blood, just one final drive-thru receipt printed at 3 a.m. Order complete. Why this matters. 2 weeks after Ethan vanished, the Burger King shut down permanently. The drive-thru speaker was removed. But locals swear, late at night, if you park in that empty lane, you can still hear a voice asking, "May I take your order?" And if you answer, you never leave hungry. Story 3, the security guard who followed the king home. It doesn't stay where it's born. Once you see the king, it knows where you live. I didn't plan on telling this last story. Some things are better left buried, locked away in the corners of memory where they rot quietly. But after what happened to Ethan, and after what I found last month, I realized something terrifying. The Burger King mascot doesn't haunt locations. It follows people. And this is the story that proves it. Marcus Hale. Marcus Hale was a private security guard, early 30s, divorced, no kids, military background. The kind of guy who didn't scare easily and laughed at horror movies because they never got the details right. He was assigned a night patrol for closed commercial properties, malls, warehouses, abandoned restaurants. One of those properties was a permanently shut down Burger King, the same one Ethan disappeared from. First night on patrol, Marcus started his shift at 11 p.m. The building was empty, windows boarded up, power cut months ago. Still, corporate required nightly patrols after reports of vandalism. Marcus parked his car, clipped on his body cam, and stepped inside. The air smelled wrong. Not dust or decay, grease, old grease, like the fryers had never cooled. The chair near the counter sat a single plastic chair, facing the drive-thru window. Marcus frowned. Furniture wasn't supposed to be inside. Then he noticed something worse. The chair was still warm. The laugh at 12:26 a.m. Marcus heard laughter. Not loud, soft, contained, like someone trying not to be heard. The sound came from the kitchen. Marcus drew his flashlight and called out, "Security, identify yourself." Silence, then a familiar voice echoed back. "Working late?" Marcus froze. That voice wasn't human. It was cheerful, artificial, overly friendly. A voice meant to sell happiness. The costume room. The laughter led him to the storage room. The door creaked open. Inside, hanging neatly on a hook, was a Burger King mascot costume. Clean, perfect, as if it had never been discarded. The head turned slightly. Marcus dropped his flashlight. The costume moved. "You followed me home." The body cam footage glitches here. Audio remains. Heavy footsteps. Marcus breathing fast. Then the voice again, closer now. "You followed me home." Marcus screamed and ran. He didn't stop until he reached his car. The engine stalled twice before starting. In the rear-view mirror. The restaurant lights turned on. One by one. Nightmares begin. Marcus quit the job the next morning, but quitting didn't help. That night he dreamed of a crown, heavy on his head, cutting into his scalp. He woke up choking on the smell of fries. His apartment kitchen lights were on. He never turned them on. The visitor, 3 nights later at 3 a.m., Marcus heard knocking. Slow, polite, tap, tap, tap. Through the peephole, he saw nothing. He opened the door. The hallway was empty, except for a paper Burger King bag sitting neatly at his feet. Inside, a crown and a receipt. Delivery complete. The reflection. Marcus stopped sleeping, stopped eating. He covered his mirrors after noticing something impossible. Every time he passed one, the reflection smiled back, wider, slower, with a crown that wasn't really there. The final recording. Marcus recorded one last message on his phone. His voice was shaking. "It doesn't need the costume anymore. It learns your shape, your smile. I think I'm becoming it." That night, neighbors reported hearing laughter echoing through the building. Security footage showed Marcus leaving his apartment wearing a fast food uniform that no longer existed. On his head, a crown. The last sighting. 2 weeks later, a new Burger King location opened 3 towns away. Grand opening, free meals, families lined up, smiling kids. A brand new mascot appeared for photos. Employees swore they never hired anyone for the role. Parents described the mascot as too realistic, too tall, too quiet. One child began screaming uncontrollably. When asked why, the child said, "He smells like my bad dreams." Why I'm ending this here. Last night I checked my phone. A notification popped up. Unknown sender. No number. Just a photo. A security camera image. My front door. Taken from inside my house. Below it, one message. "Your order is ready." And sitting on my desk right now, a cardboard crown. Warm,